63 teams to go on my road to predict all 131 teams this college football offseason. Moving on to the New Mexico State Aggies, and this is the program you've kind of just been able to sit at the bottom of the college football landscape for such a long time, and it feels like it's going to take forever for this New Mexico State team to finally have a somewhat decent year, right? But they're bringing in a new head coach, however, losing a lot of offensive talent, but bringing back a lot of defensive talent. It's going to be a little bit of an up and down season, you probably feel like, for New Mexico State this year. But there are winnable games on this schedule. So can New Mexico State surprise people in 2022? Or will this be another lowly, disappointing year for the Aggies? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate, and welcome to my channel. I'm predicting all 131 teams this college football offseason. Means I'm doing your favorite teams. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when your favorite team gets uploaded. And to fans of the New Mexico State Aggies out there, you guys are going to know this team a lot more than I do. So if you feel like I missed something, you want to add something, feel free. Leave it in the comment section down below. I'll be happy to see with what you guys have to say. Let's move on now. Again, no power rankings for FBS independent teams. This was a 2-10 team last year. Just not a good season by any metric whatsoever. 370 yards with only 23 points per game on the offensive end, and they allowed almost 500 yards a game, 486.8 yards per game, with 40 points per game. Oh, man, a lot has to improve for this New Mexico State team. But, again, they are bringing in a new head coach. His name is Jerry Kill, and they're going to look to him to try to help turn this program around a little bit, right? Maybe not right away in year one, because there's a lot of work to do, especially at a program like New Mexico State. Looking at some players that are leaving, though, Jonah Johnson, that quarterback from a year ago, is gone. Had 2,705 yards, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, was the team's third leading rusher, had 4 rushing touchdowns there as well. You're going to be missing him. You're going to need to find a guy to come in and replace what Jonah Johnson was able to bring to this team. Also, starting running back Jawan Price is gone. 692 yards and 10 touchdowns a season ago. Was probably their best offensive player statistically a season ago. However, I feel like their best offensive player overall was this man, Isaiah Garcia Castaneda at the wide receiver position. 37 catches, 578 yards, 4 touchdowns. Was the second leading receiver on this team behind Jared Wyatt, who was also gone. 629 yards and 3 touchdowns on 12 more catches for him. But this wide receiver room was decimated. You also lose Andre Bodison, Terrell Warner, and Cole Harity. And all those guys that I just mentioned right there were your 5 leading receivers a season ago. So this is a wide receiver room that's going to get a complete overhaul in 2022. When you look at the defensive end, not a whole lot leaving this defense that I could find. Deshaun Johnson, the defensive lineman, leaving. You have Michael Bowe, who is a linebacker that has gone, had 50 tackles a season ago, so that kind of stings. Caleb Mills, probably your best defensive player, has gone off the defensive back position, had 75 tackles, 3 passes defended, 2 interceptions from a season ago. And then Chris Bell, also gone off the defensive back group, had 20 tackles a season ago. When you look at what's coming back for this team, a quarterback battle is going to be taking shape between Weston Iguette and Dino Maldonado. 2 guys right there that can win that quarterback job. When you look a season ago, Weston Iguette, I believe I saw on the depth chart site I use that he is that starter next year, although Dino Maldonado got a lot more playing time last year, had 513 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, was the 4th leading rusher on this team, and Weston Iguette only completed 1 pass out of 10 attempts a season ago. So, I mean, statistically, you'd look and say, why isn't Maldonado starting? I think either of them could go in and start. Iguette, Maldonado, should be interesting to watch that battle. Running back Omari Samuels and Alex Escobar. Those 2 guys are coming back for this team. Samuels had 202 yards, a touchdown a season ago. But they're also getting a running back, and he can play a little bit of corner there as well on the defensive end. From TCU in Amonte Watkins. And that's a pretty big pickup there. In the wide receiver position, you'll have Justice Powers, Dominic Jacinto, as well as tight end Thomas Whitford, who was, I believe, that 6th leading receiver a season ago. So he is your leading target coming back on this team. Defensively, guys like Donovan King, Lazarius Williams, and a transfer over from Murray State, I believe, and Isaiah Reed going to be leading that defensive line. Linebackers, you return. A lot of pretty solid talent there. Trevor Brohard had 71 tackles, 2 sacks a season ago. Chris Clancy Ojo had 6 sacks a season ago. That led the team. He comes back along with Nick Giacolone. And those respectively were your second, third, and fourth leading tacklers last year. Defensive backs, DJ McCullough, Cyrus Dumas coming back, and they're getting a transfer from Michigan, and Andre Selden. And he'll be leading off, he'll be in there with that defensive back grouping as well. Taking a look at this schedule for the New Mexico State Aggies, it's a toughie. And again, anything's going to be a tough schedule for New Mexico State, especially considering what this team has talent-wise. But this is a New Mexico State team that has a lot of really tricky games on the schedule. I mean, at home against Nevada, they do play in week 0. That game at home against Nevada. Nevada's losing a lot from last year. Carson Strong is gone. Romeo Dubs is gone. The tight end Cole Turner is gone. Nevada's got a lot of pieces to come in and replace. New Mexico State gets them at home. Maybe an early season upset. We'll see, but Power 5 teams on the schedule. You got to go on the road to play Minnesota, on the road to play Wisconsin, on the road to play Missouri there as well. Minnesota, Wisconsin, 2 teams that are going to vie for the Big Ten West title. On the road at Missouri, a team that, going to be looked to push their way into yet another bowl game in 2022. But of course, losing Connor Bazelak, Tyler Beatty, I believe, lots off that team is gone. When you look elsewhere on the schedule, there are still a lot of other tricky games. I mean, on the road against Liberty, I know Malik Willis isn't going to be that quarterback, but Charlie Brewer is. And if he can get back to the way that he played in 2019, that Liberty team can be really dangerous. On the road at UTEP, UTEP made massive leaps last year. Massive leaps. Now, there are some players transferring out of that team, and that UTEP team may not be as good this year as they were last year. In fact, even made a bowl game last year, did UTEP with the 6-6 record. But that rivalry game there, especially going on the road, I think still going to be hard for UTEP to win. When you look elsewhere, home games against Hawaii, home games against San Jose State, a couple teams there in the Mountain West, and also a home game against New Mexico as well, but I'll talk more about that one later. But home game against Hawaii, they're losing Siobhan Cordero along with some other weapons offensively, defensively. Day Hunter is transferred out, as we just talked about a little bit ago in my independent series. So it's a Hawaii team that I still think is going to be pretty solid. New Mexico State's going to have trouble with them. Same thing with San Jose State. I love their coach. I love the energy that he brings. That's going to be a hard one there as well. If you want to look, though, for winnable games on the schedule, there are 4 of them, in my opinion. At home against FIU, that's a very winnable game. The Panthers were not very good a season ago either. In fact, finishing with a worse record than New Mexico State did a season ago. New Mexico at home, that is a winnable game right there. I think New Mexico overall is the better team, but when you get them at home, I know it's not much of a home environment for New Mexico State. Hey, but still, you get them at home. When you look elsewhere, too, after that San Jose State game, on the road at UMass, again, not a very good football team there in UMass. That is absolutely a winnable game right there. And then at home against Lamar, that is a very winnable game there as well. So you do have spots to get wins on the schedule, but New Mexico State looks like it's going to be another daunting season for them. So I don't do game-by-game predictions. Do more percentage-based. Alex, tell me predict the team's record. If the game is in red, just don't see you winning the game. If the game's in orange, I still don't see you winning, but it is college football, and upsets can happen. Yellow are your 50-50, high upset potential games. Games in yellow-green are games you should win. Watch out for a team on the other side of the ball, and games in green, you should probably win. So, games in red, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Missouri, they're just not winning any of those games, flat out. Games in orange, well, there's Nevada, UTEP, Hawaii, San Jose State, and Liberty. I think they're going to have to fight to win any one of those games. I do think all of those teams are going to be better than New Mexico State in 2022. I know Nevada is replacing a lot. They get them at home. Same thing with Hawaii. New Mexico State gets them at home. Liberty, but they have to go on the road to play them. But again, if you want to look for spots with wins on this New Mexico State schedule, FIU, great place to look for a win. New Mexico, great place to look for a win there. Those are 2 teams that, again, probably are not going to be very good next year. On the road against UMass, another spot there to look for a win. And then at home against Lamar. Obviously, I have that game in yellow-green, which I'm leaning towards the win there, and that is going to be a game that definitely I think if New Mexico State's going to win at least a game this year, probably should end up being that game against Lamar. Overall, though, when you look at the schedule, again, like I've said, there are winnable games here for this New Mexico State team, but they're replacing a lot on the offensive end. There's a big question mark at quarterback. How does the running back room play? How rebuilt is this wide receiver room? There's a lot of questions for New Mexico State. And a defense, yes, returns a lot of experience, but how much does it improve next year? I got them going 2-10 yet again. That floor I see is 1-11. I do think they will win at least one game this year. I think there are too many winnable games on the schedule for New Mexico State to go 0-12. So I do see them winning at least one game, worst case scenario. High case, they can win all those games in yellow and or yellow-green. 4-8, I think, is that high case for New Mexico State. But I got them 2-10 in 2022. A football team that, well, we'll see how Kill does with this team. Probably still a couple years at the very least away from pushing for a spot into the postseason. But the Aggies, maybe we could see some slight improvements this year with a new head coach, new coaching staff, some new players, some transfers coming in as well. Maybe we see some improvement this year, but I got them at 2-10. Same record as they did a season ago. So it's going to do it for this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, everything like that. And remember to play hard but tailgate harder. See all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.